For the next hour, the green and gold are in charge. Welcome to In the Huddle on the Woodward Radio Network. In the Huddle is brought to you by Mole Lake Casino Lodge and Conference Center. Now, here's Bill Scott and Green Bay defensive lineman BJ Raji.
And good evening, everyone, and welcome to Tanner's and Kimberly. In the Huddle with BJ Raji. Merry Christmas, BJ. It's going great. How was your holiday season?
Pretty good. My family wasn't able to make it, but I spent some time with some teammates and some friends, and obviously with the win, to cap off the night. So it was a good feeling.
So you didn't do anything for Christmas?
No, I mean Christmas Day.
You should have called me.
What's that?
You should have called me.
What were you doing that was so much fun?
I was with family and friends. We would have made you a part of our family.
You know what? I appreciate the invitation. Next year.
I will definitely extend the invite next year. Man, nobody should be alone on Christmas.
I don't look at it like that. I mean,
is that why you played so poor yesterday?
That's a good one, bro.
Just tease, dude.
I know. That was a good one. But no, I mean, I only had really half the day to myself, really. I had to arrive at the stadium at, was it 4 o'clock? We had a team meeting to kind of reiterate what we wanted to do out there. And so I was at the stadium at 4, so I'm not a young kid like waking up, running to the tree looking for presents.
Yeah.
So
I
was fine just watching the NBA a little bit and getting back to watching those guys play.
You and Hull.
What's that?
You and Justin Hull. There's 2 guys I know that watched the NBA yesterday now.
So you don't watch the NBA?
Not this early in the season.
Oh. Sorry. Nah, but I think with the long lockout and just the matchups, just obviously the Heat and some of the bigger name teams are playing, and I really have nothing else to do.
Yeah. So congratulations on wrapping up home field advantage, goal number 3 now.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Looks like the offense kind of got back on track. I don't know if you were privy to those meetings or discussions with those players, and we'll ask James Jones when he arrives here in a little while what his thoughts were on the whole process. But I would imagine there was a lot of discussion amongst the wide receivers that they were pretty embarrassed about the offensive performance in general against Kansas City, the number of drops that they had, and they were really looking to atone for it this past Sunday. Yeah,
well, I can't speak in James' behalf, but no, I've discussed it with Jermichael Finley and guys like that, and they were obviously disappointed, and they were apologetic. They were sorry. I was just telling them, listen. I mean, we're a team. We lost as a team. As a defense, we had a chance to kind of make the stop and give them the ball back, but we didn't do that. And I think those guys, it was kind of a wake-up call for everybody, and hopefully we can continue to get better and hopefully advance in these playoffs.
Chicago didn't run away and hide early in terms of their ability to try to win a football game.
Right.
But they clearly did not have the offensive weaponry there yesterday. I thought McCown did about as good a job as he could do, and the running game kind of kept them in it for a little while, but you guys were just too strong in the end.
Yeah, definitely. You got to give them credit. It definitely came out, and, they started pounding the football on us, which was a surprise to me, but, just the NFL. And, when you're undisciplined and you're kind of playing sloppy ball, that shows what can happen in this league, especially a division opponent that knows you so well. Mm-hmm. So I think that it's a huge learning tool for us moving forward. Even to this week with Detroit, and even further down the road. I think that ultimately, when the team comes in with not full on their weapons, I think it should be a time to step up and dominate, and not the performance we had yesterday.
Well, the win leaves the Packers with a rather meaningless regular season finale against Detroit. Although when I say that, Mike McCarthy doesn't sound like there's anything meaningless about that football game. He wants to go 15-1. He said today he wants to sweep the division. And while there may be instances where you will rest players, he certainly isn't taking the attitude that he's just throwing this one away.
Oh, no. I know Coach, he'll never have that mindset. And I think that, like you said, he'll make the decision on who he pulls, but for the most part, we'll all be out there playing, and I think that's the way it should be. It's a game of football, and you only get 16 regular season games, and there's no reason to throw one away just because your fate is sealed for the moment. I think that everyone wants to play. I think that how much we play will depend on him and his staff, but ultimately the majority of the guys I feel will be out there.
Now, you're a student of the game. You've seen these instances down the stretch where teams rest players or they don't rest players.
Right.
Given where the Packers are, where their injury situation is, if you had to guess just the number, I'm not asking you to name names, but just the number, how many players do you think will rest all or a good portion of Sunday's game against the Lions?
Well, judging on what you just said, Coach said earlier in this press conference, I don't think that number would be too high. Maybe a little over a handful, maybe 5 or 6 guys, maybe, just because of maybe their injury history or just the immediate future. Maybe a couple games they got nicked up, or maybe because of their experience in the league. Maybe guys with close to double-digit years. Maybe he'll let them get some time off. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's one of those scenarios now. It is time to get healthy, though, and this is a good time to do it with a bye week coming up this week. If you can use that to your advantage, great. But for all intents and purposes, unless somebody has a debilitating long-term injury, you guys should be in pretty good shape going into your second-round playoff game.
Yes, sir. I think that I think coach is probably the biggest I guess manager of the injury situation. But I think that ultimately our goal is to be ready when whoever comes in here, for that divisional round, and I think that's going to be important to have everybody on board to get that victory.
All right, it was a tough sledding for the defense, and you guys are really missing Ryan Pickett out there. 199 yards Chicago was able to rush for yesterday, 441 total yardage. But again, when you guys, it's a bend but not break philosophy, and when you guys get turnovers, that's kind of the story. That's been your philosophy all season long.
Right. I think yesterday it was a little shocking just because of the style of run that they had. It wasn't so much a physical pound you. It was more of a gap scheme where they were pulling the center and the guard, and having 2 big guys up outside in our corners and our safeties, and that's tough for those guys to get blocked by those guys. But ultimately, as a defense, we have to pick it up, and hopefully we'll learn from this tape and be able to move forward.
All right, Packers defensive nose guard BJ Raji. We'll be back with more in the huddle from the Tanners and Kimberly after this on the Woodward Radio Network.
Now back to In the Huddle with Bill Scott and Green Bay defensive lineman BJ Raji.
And we are back here. Transportation for our guests is brought to you by L&S Classic Limousine Service, personal professional service for all occasions. Call 800-830-5933 for your reservation. Ask for Lenny or Sue, and they'll take care of you. The Packers clinching means their finale against the Lions on Sunday will stay at noon. If you're a fan of the noon game, I know you guys are.
Yeah, I think especially in this situation here where, you kind of, want to get up early and get out there and play and kind of be done with it. And, but ideally I like the 4 p.m. games.
Bears decided to give you guys a shot at the football first, and you marched right down the field and scored a touchdown. In fact, you guys are so good at that. That's 59 points on opening offensive possessions for the Packers. That leads the National Football League.
Yeah, that's outstanding. I wasn't aware of that stat, but just you got to start with Coach McCarthy and his style of play calls. Sometimes he'll speed up the tempo with the no huddle and kind of catch the defense off balance. And obviously with Aaron having an MVP type of season, his accuracy, and we mix in just enough runs to keep teams honest, but it's no secret we want to throw the ball.
Does it seem like you've played the Bears 4 times in the calendar year?
It doesn't, but that's our biggest rival. I think everyone knows that, and anytime you can win the last 4 meetings, I think with a lot of them having big implications, I think it's a sign that the Packers are doing a good job.
Yeah, they not only have you won all 4, but you knocked them out of the playoffs by winning the NFC Championship game, and now technically knocked them out of the playoffs by winning yesterday.
Right. For Packer players and being in the Packer organization, and obviously for the Packer fans, that's music to our ears. You know what I mean? The Bears are, like I said earlier, our biggest rival, and we didn't want the reverse to happen like last year. You know, those guys came here last year and had the opportunity to knock us out. You know, and we eventually go on. You know, to eventually knock them out. So I was just glad to get them out of our hair.
Yeah. By the way, fans may have heard Mike McCarthy talking very eagerly about wide receiver Greg Jennings. He's going to practice this week. Probably not going to play against the Lions, but he's going to practice, and he's in pretty good shape right now. The offensive line development is, they say that Chad Clifton's going to practice on Wednesday, and Mike McCarthy would like to see him play to see if he can help the Packers in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's been a while since Chad's been playing, but I think with his experience and his talent level, I think that'll help him, you know, overcome the time away from the game. And I think that most people that don't have as many years as him would struggle in that situation. But I think that Chad is probably going to get better from this, and hopefully he can stay healthy and help us.
After having to do all of their work on the road last season in the playoffs, you now get the experience of not only having the first round bye, so you don't have to play that first game, but the road now goes through Lambeau Field on the way to the Super Bowl. As long as you're in it, you're playing at home.
Right. I think that's a huge accomplishment. I'm along with the 14 regular season wins. You know, that's a franchise record too. But to get back to your point, I think that anytime when you have the home field advantage that we have and the weather that we'll have here pretty shortly, I think, and having teams that maybe be a dome team or they used to warmer weather, you know, having to come up here and play, I think that's a huge advantage for us. And hopefully, like you said, we're in it and we can take full advantage of that.
Did you see, and I know sometimes you're at field level and sometimes you're in the bench area, you don't see it real clear, but did you see Devin Hester's kickoff return that he tried to pull the wool over your eyes? So
yeah, I saw that.
Would that have been I know it was against the Packers, but would that have been a magnificent play?
That was, you know, it's the reason why, you know, some say he's the best returner ever. Just little tricks in the arsenal like that. I haven't really seen that happen before, and you know, it's the reason why he's had so much success. I mean, aside from his ability, just his savvy and his wittiness.
Yeah, I didn't catch the tackler, but he had one man to beat, and it was a big guy for the Packers, and they brought him down. Now he was kind of pinched up against the sidelines. He didn't have a lot of territory over there, but still a good defensive play to bring Hester down by whoever that Packer special teamer was. The other guy who I'm trying to think now, the top special teamer for the Packers,
Jared Bush.
Bush. Boy, did he have a game yesterday too. He was all over the place on punt coverage.
I think that obviously, I mean, when you talk about football and with the media, I mean, obviously punt coverage and kickoff coverage isn't really mentioned, you know, in the headlines. But I think our coverage units yesterday had one of their better games, and I think their field position was a result of that. And I mean, it was a tragedy that we weren't able to take advantage of it from a defensive standpoint because we had excellent field position the majority of the night, and hopefully they continue to play like that, and we won't have many days like that.
Yeah, when they do it like Bush does it, it's fun to watch. It's almost like you enjoy seeing the punt cover team go out there if it's against somebody that's highly touted like Hester, because it's just fun to watch him.
Yeah, if you didn't know Jared at all, he's a high energy guy. You know, we'll be going through walkthroughs and Jared will be running through the full speed, and you got to like tap him on the shoulder and let him know that this is just walkthrough, you know. And he's one of those guys that constantly has energy. He's bouncing around like a fly. But when he gets on the field, he does the same thing. So I guess got to take the good with the bad.
2 more interceptions yesterday for the Packers. That gives the Packers 34 takeaways for the season. Only the 49ers with 36 have more. So you're second in the business, and you're right there, right to the end.
Yeah, I think that's a credit to, you know, obviously Dom coming up with the defensive calls at that particular time, but also the guys on the back end, you know, because I know the old cliche, I guess the old myth is that, you know, defensive guys can't really catch the football, but, you know, the numbers since we've been here have spoke otherwise, and saying that those guys, Tremont, Wood, you know, even young Morgan and Charlie, I think has 5 interceptions, that those guys are holding on to the football when it's coming to them.
I'll tell you one thing, I don't think anybody I think the offense has given up about 3-4 sacks on average over the last 4, 5, 6 games. I don't think anybody expected a shuffling on the offensive line because of injuries. Evan Dietrich Smith goes to left guard, TJ Lang goes to right tackle, and no quarterback sacks with Julius Peppers on the other side of the line. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's, I mean, a lot of it has to do with Aaron, his ability to escape and, make it hard for defensive linemen. But, having a banged up offensive line like we had in the last few weeks, for those guys to come out there and, a guy like Julius Peppers, like you said, they've seen him in the last year 4 times. So for them to, kind of hold them to what they did, I think that's really indicative of the game they played.
After the Bears made it 14-10, the Packers strike back a couple of plays later, 55 yards, Rodgers to Jordy Nelson. That was unbelievable, and you could just feel, hear, whatever, the air going out of the Bears' sail at the moment.
Yeah, anytime, I see that play action when Aaron is rolling out, I get up off my seat because I know something spectacular is about to happen. And to see Jordy, with the speed that he has, have that guy beat by 5 yards and just waiting for the ball to get placed perfectly in his hands. Just a picture-perfect pass and just a little storyline to the success that those two have had this season.
What did you think when Josh McCown ran for the 2-point conversion to make it 31-18, or make it 31, what was it, 18 at the time? Yeah. 35-18 at the time? And he dunked the ball over the crossbar.
I think, it's a copycat league, and, that play along with, the type of runs that we faced yesterday, I think they took a page out of Kansas City's book with all the pullers, and I think when we got in the red zone, I think you have to go back to the Giants game when teams are starting to spread us out in the red zone and then, having pulling guards and stuff like that. So, I mean, you have to tip your hat to that play. Obviously, they spread out 5 wide, shotgun, nobody in the backfield but the quarterback, and then, you pull the backside tackle and a QB draw. That's more of a play you see in college, but it was obviously caught us off guard, and it was a success for them.
Yeah. So give them credit for the 2-point run, but what about? I mean, you didn't think too much about the dunking the ball over the crossbar?
No, I didn't see that. I just heard a bunch of boos, and at that point, I guess the guy was just happy to be in the game and play. Man, he probably, if not for Jay Cutler being hurt, he probably wouldn't be playing. So yeah. I guess he was taking full advantage of his opportunity.
A couple weeks ago, the guy was teaching Phi Ed. I think I heard fans yelling, "Go back to high school."
Stranger things have happened.
We'll be back with more from Tanners and Kimberly after this on the Woodward Radio Network.
Now back to In the Huddle with Bill Scott and Green Bay defensive lineman BJ Raji.
And we are back at Tanners and Kimberly. Along with BJ Raji, I'm Bill Scott. Yeah, we'll go back to the Josh McCown conversation. He started, last time he started an NFL game was back in 2007. So he did admit after the game, he said, I kind of got a little bit lost in what I was doing out there. He said I was a little too excited. It's been a long time, you understand. And I thought the guy played pretty well, and I think if the Bears would have gone his direction sooner, they might have had a win or two under their belts, and it might have actually been looking at a playoff spot.
Obviously the guy had a good game as far as passing, but I don't know. I don't know if that would have been the case, but last night he played well, and like you said, that particular play, he obviously got a little beside himself, but that's kind of to be expected when you haven't played in a few years.
4 times in 2011 now that the Packers have beaten the Bears. We mentioned that. Aaron Rodgers, 5 touchdown passes. For the first time in his career, ties him with Brett Favre. He did it back in 1998. He broke a number of records. Another one was Lynn Dickey's single-season passing yardage record. It was like the whole entire second half up in the press box was one announcement after another of every record that continued to fall. Donald Driver, first Packers wide receiver in franchise history to go over 10,000 receiving yards in a season. So just one right after another.
Yeah, I was actually at work earlier, Driver brought it to my attention, and I was just happy for him because he's one of those guys that, even when I was coming in as a younger player, he was a person that extended his love and support. He was happy that I was here, and he was just wanted to win football games. So for him to reach a milestone like that, I'm really happy for him, because he's very professional, and he's obviously been doing it for a long time.
So what was the celebration like last night after, you set up, you wanted to get the division,
Right.
you wanted to get the bye, and then you want to get home field advantage throughout the playoffs. So, all three of those, Super Bowl being number 4, but all three of those were set. Was it one of those, we still got more work to do, or was it one of those, hey, we've got the 3 big ones out of the way?
Coach McCarthy is real big on just in the moment, enjoying it and celebrating it. I remember, coming off of after the Giants game and the defense not feeling like we played our best. We got the win, and Coach McCarthy was the first guy to say, listen, we're still undefeated. It's hard to win in this league, especially on a road like this against a good team, and he's very supportive of celebrating. But I think it was such a quick turnaround that I think a lot of guys didn't get a chance to celebrate, and most of the guys were probably tired.
Cincinnati in the playoff hunt as we go around the league a little bit, one win away from clinching, but their biggest problem isn't their opponent. Their biggest problem is their own fans.
Yeah, I heard about that. I thought Cincinnati was a big football town,
Used to be.
I guess not, right now at this point. But I find that surprising, especially with a team that's in the hunt to make the playoffs. That's a little shocking to me.
Yeah, 41,273 showed up for a team that's in the playoff hunt.
Wow. You think is Cincinnati like a poverty-stricken city or something like that, or? I don't know. That's unheard of, man.
Yeah, back when Cleveland and Cincinnati were both good in the day, there was some great rivalries, and I know it's been a long time. Cincinnati basically hit rock bottom and then built themselves back up, but they got a new quarterback. And
my rookie year, I believe they won the division. Is that not right? I think
yeah, it probably wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, I think 2 or 3 years ago, they came in here and they beat us our rookie year, and then they went on to win the division. So, they've had some success in the recent history, and I don't understand why that's the case.
The Minnesota Vikings, and I know you have strong admiration for their running back, Adrian Peterson. He is out for the entire rest of this season. He's out probably all of next season. He basically ripped up his whole knee. It's a 12 to 18-month injury. That's unfortunate because it's one of the true stars of the game that is not able to play in the NFL for a while, and who knows if at all.
Yeah, even though he plays for the rival in our division, I think it's a consensus feeling, sorrow for the kid. I think that the question is, he's a different style of runner, and when you run with the violence and the hard cuts and stuff, you wonder if he'll be able to get back to that even when he does come back. How comfortable does he feel planting his foot in the turf and, accelerating or decelerating. So, only time will tell with that. But, just the timing, you get to the point of the season where they're obviously out of the playoff picture. And for him to get hurt in a time like this is definitely devastating.
What a difference a year makes. Last year, the Packers fighting for their playoff lives at this time, and now you've had, just knocking off one notch after another, and not only are you not fighting like you were a year ago, but you've got everything in control, every place that every other team in the league would love to be in terms of home field advantage, playing at home the rest of the way. There's 2 different outlooks from a year ago, isn't it?
Definitely. Even going back a year further, my rookie year, we clinched the spot a week before. Obviously, we played to the Cardinals in Arizona. Then we went back and played them and lost to them in the wild card round. But I think I've kind of had every angle, clinching a wild card spot a week before the playoffs end, and then having to fight the last week a year later, and then now obviously sitting in the position we're in. Been blessed to be in the playoffs every year since I've been in the league, and hopefully we can continue that success.
All right. By the way, we are awaiting James Jones. He's supposed to be here at some point. In fact, I think he's been circling the building looking for a parking spot, I hope. But maybe 20 of you could go outside and light your lighters or something, kind of create like a landing strip for him so he can figure out how to get here.
Yeah, I'm trying to take his word on this, but he's actually texting me right now. He actually called me, but we'll see what happens.
And you were on the air, couldn't take his call, so he's probably going to turn around and go home pretty soon.
I doubt he'll do that.
Last meeting with the Lions, and Ndamukong Suh kicked Evan Dietrich Smith, and obviously was suspended for 2 games by the National Football League. What are you looking for in this next matchup on Sunday against the Detroit football team that, has kind of rubbed a few teams the wrong way?
I'm just hoping they just stay off our quarterback. That's the number one goal in my mind. Just hopefully Aaron, if he does play for the, just nothing happens to him and obviously any of our players. But those guys, I think they get a bad rap. But at the end of the day, if you're a player, you would love to have them on your team. They play hard. You have to admit they play hard. Obviously, Susan made some bad decisions in the recent history, but he's still a young player playing off pure emotion and ability. And sometimes some people make bad decisions, but I don't think Sue's a bad guy. I don't think they're really trying to hurt anybody. They're just taught. Generally, when you see a team play, it's kind of a message trickling down from the coaches and the style of football play.
Well, you can hear who's here.
What's up, bro? It's all good, bro.
James Jones is in the house. How you doing, James? I'll let you throw your headsets on right there. And here you go. How you doing? James,
I'm good. How we doing?
Doing great.
Sorry I'm late. I was coming, though. I was coming.
I told him to be here, man. I have faith in you.
Man.
Nice job yesterday.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Yeah, 5th NFL season, and you have a brand new contract with the team, and I know that things have been really spread around. I know there have been days you wish you had the football a little bit more, but obviously I know you're thrilled to win. And yesterday you were a big part of the clinching win for the home field advantage throughout the playoffs.
Yeah, you never know when your time is coming. We packed at the wide receiver position with a lot of talented guys, so on any given Sunday, it could be your day, and you just got to be ready. We pride ourselves on making the most of our opportunities, and I just took advantage of it yesterday.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. After the week before against Kansas City, where really not a lot went right for the whole football team, receivers in general, they were a part of that as well with a few drop passes. You guys made it big time a men's sport yesterday.
Yeah, we got chewed out, once we got back in the film room after the game on Monday. So, prepared all week, to catch the ball well, and we went out there and put the ball in great spots, and we were able to make some plays.
All right, more with James Jones after this on the Woodward Radio Network.
Now back to In the Huddle with Bill Scott and Green Bay defensive lineman BJ Raji.
And we continue from Tanner's and Kimberly. Along with BJ Raji, I'm Bill Scott. Brought to you by Mole Lake Casino Lodge and Conference Center. Enjoy the excitement of Vegas close to home at Mole Lake Casino Lodge and Conference Center in beautiful Crandon, Wisconsin. James Jones, our guest on the program this evening, posting career highs and catches with 50 for a personal best 679 yards last season, while matching his career best with 5 touchdowns. You passed that yesterday with numbers 5 and 6 in your career, so that's a new season high.
It is.
Always nice to set new highs every year, isn't it?
It is, especially when you're getting in the end zone. That's probably the best one when you're scoring points for your team. So, it feels good.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers broke Lynn Dickey's 1983 single season record for passing yards in the second quarter, 32-yard pass to yourself, and quickly followed it up with a 2-yard touchdown pass to you as well. But it's always it's his record, but I'm sure there's bragging rights around the water cooler that say, "Hey, I'm the guy that caught the record breaker."
Yeah, we'll give him a hard time in the meeting rooms every once in a while and tell him, without us, he ain't that good. But we're lying a little bit. I mean, the guy's playing phenomenal. He's MVP of the league. Great throws, put the ball anywhere he wants to put it. So it's fun playing with him.
So you and your lovely bride welcomed a new child into the world fairly recently.
Yeah.
How's that working out for you?
It's sleepless, but but it's fun. He's starting to sleep a little better now. He's starting to like his mommy and daddy and giving us a little rest. But it's awesome, man. I'm happy to be a father. Can't wait till he start running around, walking and stuff.
Yeah, ever since I've had a chance to meet you and have grown to know you from a working standpoint, you're one of the most loyal guys I think I've ever had a chance to meet. And it kind of shines through in how you named your child.
Yeah.
James Martell Lightning Jones.
Yes.
Now you tell the now you tell the story, because Lightning, James says Lightning is on the birth certificate,
My
right?
son's name is James Martell Lightning Jones, and he's named after the two best friends. One of my best friends' name is Martell, his first name, and my other best friend's last name is Lightning. So I used his last name. When we were younger, we said first boy, named after each other. He had a son, so he started it, so I had to keep it going. So James Martell Lightning is his name.
And if and you said earlier this year that if he's fast, you're gonna call him Lightning.
Yeah, if he's fast, he's gonna be Lil Lightning. If he's slow, he's just gonna be JJ. It's up to him what kind of nickname he wants, I guess.
Yeah, and you know what? He's too young to know it right now.
Yeah.
So if he, there's no sense in having a complex about it, because he doesn't know.
Not at all. No, we'll just see how it works out. It's up to him.
That's good stuff. And you know what? I mean, how many of us sit around the water cooler and talk about, well, I'll name my son after you, my firstborn after you, and friends do that, but they never follow through with it.
Yeah.
You're a first, man. You're the first guy I've ever seen too.
He started it, so I had to keep it going. So I couldn't let him down. So I said, all right. But his first name had to be James, though. So hopefully he's smart. He knows how to spell his name, because it's kind of long.
You re-signed with the Packers as a free agent in 2011. Did you always know it was going to be that way? I know there was. I mean, it couldn't have been a worse time for a labor situation in the NFL, because you really, with the numbers you put up, had an opportunity to get a nice free agent deal, whether it was in Green Bay or someplace else, and that whole labor thing kind of just threw a monkey wrench into all that.
Yeah, it was crazy. The whole off season and free agency was crazy. But all signs kept leading back to Green Bay. Through the whole free agency, talking to all these teams and things like that, all signs kept leading back to Green Bay. So me and my wife looked at each other and said, it must be the place. So we pulled the plug and we came back, and I'm glad I came back, and hopefully we can get another Super Bowl.
Well, it was the Vikings were one of the teams, believe it or not, that were looking at your services.
Yeah.
And when you look at it, when you think back, would any amount of money in the world be worth going and playing for that outfit?
Yeah, and that's what it came down to. You gotta look at every situation. You don't want to go just straight for the money and be on a stinky team. You want to be winning too. So I probably would have been miserable over there in Minnesota for a little bit more money, but I decided to come back. Close with a lot of guys on the team, love playing with these guys, love being here, so I'm glad to be here.
You guys are really that receiver group, pretty tight, aren't you?
Yeah, we're close. It's like a family in there, We're like brothers. We treat you like a brother, so when you do good, you get treated good. When you do bad, you get treated bad. But we have a good time, though.
BJ, you guys do that on the defensive line, or?
I think we do. I think, when you spend so much time with each other, I think that's a natural bond. You go through training camp, when you're virtually with each other every single day, and with these guys, they got years together, and when you have that type of, experience, and you go through the good times and the bad times, you're able to enjoy each other's company, and like you said, you laugh with the good, and kind of get on them when they do something bad.
Well, as Justin Hall filled in for me a couple of weeks ago and told the Jordy Nelson farm story,
right,
which James was a part of that.
Yes.
That's a close-knit group, right?
Yeah, we very close for that trip. Us and our wives went down to Riley, Kansas. It's two people that live in Jordy City. He's one of them. It's one restaurant, and it's owned by Jordy. I don't even think it's a gas station, so if you drive through there and you run out of gas, you're out of luck. He owns a bunch of land, but yeah, we had fun out there. We, got to mess with some cows and stuff. I don't think I'll ever go out there again, but we had a good time.
James Jones of the Green Bay Packers. We'll be back with our final segment from Tanners and Kimberly after this on the Woodward Radio Network.
Now back to In the Huddle with Bill Scott and Green Bay defensive lineman BJ Raji.
And we're back. BJ Raji and wide receiver James Jones. And it's brought to you by Granite Peak Ski Area. And we didn't do the Granite Peak Ski segment this time because James got here a little late and we wanted to spend more time with James. But we do want to mention those folks because they're one of the great sponsors of our program. Well, everybody's, we'll kind of go over this with you, James. Everybody's kind of got an opinion as to how a team, their team, should handle the last game when everything's all clinched. Now, I don't know from a wide receiver perspective, there's a whole lot that changes because Greg Jennings, even though it sounds like he's going to practice this week, there's one guy down at the position. You pretty much need all of you to play, especially with the design of the offense.
We have no choice. We're suiting up and we're going. It's only 4 of us, so we have to play. But I want to play because, I mean, last year at this time we were hot going into the playoffs. We caught our streak the last 2 games, so I think we all should play because, I mean, if we don't play and then we have a bye week, that's 2 weeks off of football. That's a long time without playing football. So I want to get in there and play some football and hopefully continue to roll through the playoffs.
There is, BJ, a fear amongst players that you might lose something if you take too much time off, isn't there?
Yeah, like James said, I think anytime we're anticipating obviously having some days off for the bye week, and while the remaining teams play. So I don't think it's really beneficial to pull majority of the players and send them for a division game against a Lions team that's going to be in the playoffs. So I think it's a good gauge, just with nothing to really lose, just to gauge and see how. Because Coach McCarthy always talks about improving your play and the type of play he wants to see. So I think this is a good gauge without the ramifications being that detrimental.
Lions can still secure the 5 seed with a win against the Packers on Sunday, so they do have something to play for in terms of their playoff picture when they come in here. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I know you guys still want to win the football game. You're going to go on the field and step on the field and play. You play all out. You certainly don't play to lose.
Not at all. I mean, we prepare to win all week, so we definitely want to go out there and win the game and play our best game. So, I mean, it'll be a good game. I'm sure they'll play their players, because like you said, they're trying to get the 5 seed, and hopefully we play, to keep our mojo going, to stay hot during the playoffs.
Does it matter? Now, that's both of you. Does it matter who you play in the playoffs?
Well, go ahead, Joe.
Go ahead, Rico.
I think, I guess the first reaction for me is to say no. But when you sit, like James knows, when you sit in those meetings, you talk about scheme and plan of attack. So you have to consider, how would you play, the possible opponents. So I think that with our style of play, I think, I don't know. It's an interesting topic, but right at this point, every team that's going to be in the playoffs is going to be a pretty good team, so it's going to be a challenge either way.
Yeah, I think the best thing is everybody's going to be good, but the good thing is they all got to come through Lambeau. It's going to be tough to beat us here at Lambeau.
All right, so let's just take it into a what-if scenario. Let's just put everybody in the the NFC Championship game. Packers are there hosting, and let's just assume the other 2 top seeds will make it through and have to face each other, New Orleans and San Francisco. Which one do you want to face?
I'll take San Fran.
Likewise, yeah. I think because the way they score, San Fran has a good team, but they win a certain way. And I think if you get these guys and they start out hot like they usually do to get up 14, 2-3 scores, and San Fran's out of their element, as opposed to, obviously Aaron's having an MVP season, but so is Drew Brees, and he came here, week 1, and he put on a great performance. So this guy's going to be a Hall of Fame player. So I would take the non-Hall of Fame player.
Yeah, it's the experience at the quarterback position.
We'll
in
take
other words,
Alex Smith over Drew Brees any day.
Yeah, and Drew Brees is.
And I'm sure vice versa.
Yeah. I mean, if Aaron Rodgers wasn't in the league,
want to face Aaron.
Yeah, if Aaron Rodgers wasn't in the league, Drew Brees would be the MVP.
Definitely. His numbers speak for himself. He's a competitor. He obviously has a scheme to fit his style of play, and he has a weapon. Not quite as good as ours, but pretty good runner-up.
How do you like playing for Edgar Bennett?
Love it. He gets the best out you. It's never good enough for EB. you can catch a 65-yard touchdown and you could have did something better. And I think that's good for the group though, because it keeps you hungry, keeps you playing hard, because you want to kind of make your coach happy. You know, he's always like, nah, that ain't good enough. We could have broke 2 tackles on that one, or you know, he let one guy bring you down. So he definitely gets the best out you. But he's a fun coach to play for. We have a lot of fun, and you know, glad he's my coach.
Yeah, he's obviously a long-time running back and successful running back with the Packers. Coached running backs for a while in Green Bay, then made the switch this year to the wide receivers. When those kind of switches are made, do you kind of take a look at it and say, what?
Sometimes, but you know, a lot of us were close with Edgar, you know, when he was a running backs coach. So when we made the switch, a lot of us were excited. But
so you didn't have to do a huge sell job on you.
No, not at all. He kind of brings that running back mentality too. You know, he's trying to get us to run guys over and stuff, and we're like, hold on, man. You know, we're trying to run away from people now. We're not trying to run guys over. But he brings that mentality, and like I said, he gets the best out of you.
All right. Well, I'm glad things are working well for you, and we wish you nothing but the best of luck, and hopefully many, many more catches down the road.
Appreciate it. I'll take it.
All right. Thanks for hustling to get out here. Appreciate it, James Jones. BJ, go get the Lions on Sunday, all right?
Yes, when are we back?
Next Tuesday. Yeah, next Tuesday we're back here. Not Monday, next Tuesday night, right here on the Woodward Radio Network. So long, everybody.